Okay. Welcome to the Economic Development Alliance Investor Member Meeting for August. We're all here. I'm Elizabeth Howe. I'm the chair of this conversation. As we do each meeting, we like to ask anyone who is a first timer to stand up and introduce yourself and tell us why you're here today. So, the first timers. Yes.
I moved from Norman, Oklahoma, but I'm born and raised in Fort Morgan, Colorado. And I work at the Holiday Inns and the Residence Inn as a sales director. And my name is Casey Scott.
Thanks, Casey Scott.
Yeah.
Been in Durango about 6 years. Just left the corporate world and hoping to start up my own thing. My bread and butter is financial modeling, especially on the pro forma side for startups. So I'd love to get more integrated in the community.
Thanks for being here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Greif. I'm here from Farmington, from San Juan College. I'm the Vice President of Workforce and Economic Development out there. It's great to be here.
Thanks for coming up.
Morning, my name is Casey. I work with the Department of Local Affairs. I'm a program evaluator leading evaluations of the state's affordable housing program. So let's talk about affordable housing.
Fantastic.
Chad, nice to be with you.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, my name is Dennis Dempsey. I'm the owner of Choice Athletics and GIS Elevated. I'm mostly here representing Choice Athletics. That's Durango's only indoor batting cage. And baseball and softball. Yeah. So we're just trying to get the word out, see how everybody's going. You know, trying to
Fish just cut back up.
Huh? It
Where are
is.
you getting that? It is.
It's not
Where are you
one
getting
in.
that?
So, anyways, Dennis Dempsey, Choice Athletics.
Anybody else? Well, thank you to everybody who stood up and put yourselves on the spot. I put you on the spot this morning. We always have a tight schedule because we like to bring you lots and lots of amazing information and updates. So if you're a presenter today, we'll remind you that there are some signs up here in the front that kind of give you some time indicators. We do want to end right on time. We know a lot of people have 10 o'clock meetings and need to run. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Torr, our Executive Director.
Okay, so Sean Waters is actually not here. It's Jeremiah from the town of Bayfield, and he's our new Alliance board member as well as town councilor. So,
everybody, so you got to go first. So from the town of Bayfield, just wanted to let everyone know the east intersection light there is in engineering, and they're hoping to break ground on that this year, hopefully by the end of the year. So, and a long time coming. That's gonna open up about 600 housing units there on that north side of the highway. So, along with some commercial and other potential projects over there. So. And then Cinnamon Heights is under contract, hopefully to close in October. An additional 15 to 20 affordable housing units there, and a number of other units as well. So more housing, bunch of housing coming Mayfield. Great. And otherwise, town's working on some drainage projects, stormwater, stuff like that. And that's really about all.
that's great. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker for the city of Durango is going to be Tommy Crosby today.
Morning, everyone. Tommy Crosby, Economic Opportunity Manager at the city of Durango. I was about a block away. I broke my foot last week and I realized I still have my house slipper on my right. So maybe that's just how comfortable I am with you all. I'm going to pitch you guys on 2 items, 2 stacks of pamphlets by all the tasty treats outside. First is the city's 2025 grant report. It tells a great story of how the city invested over $600,000 into 96 projects, programs, events, and experiences right here in Durango. Of that $600,000, over 50% of those dollars stayed local. That's city grant funding, going to city organizations, buying from other businesses located within city limits. other artists, other marketing firms, et cetera, et cetera. I highly encourage you to dig into this. If you're not familiar with the City of Durango's grant programs, we fund everything from arts and culture to marketing grants to larger redevelopment projects, front facade, if you need a new sign, everything under the sun. There's likely something in here for you. Big stack of these out front. Second, very excited about this. This is our city's work report. Over the course of the last year, City of Durango has been partnering with the Good Food Collective and the Plata Food Equity Coalition's Food Business Work Group to come up with this report outlining 52 recommendations to make it faster, cheaper, and easier to start a business in Durango. Those 52 recommendations are going to be rolled out over the course of the next year in conjunction with city departments, city staff, partner organizations, business support orgs in the community. Highly recommend picking up a copy of this report. Incredibly interesting. If there's one of these 52 recommendations that resonates with you, I encourage you to be a squeaky wheel about it. Not all of them are as easy as, updating links on the website. Some of them are code reform, larger boulders to have to move. So I'm gonna finish pitching you on these two. They're out by the croissants. Last thing I'll mention, just from an events perspective at the city, next 2 weekends, you're gonna see a little bit of a lull. It's gonna really kick back up again once San Juan Brewfest is here the end of August. And that will really catapult us through a very busy September and fall of an event season. But, if you're looking for a quieter weekend in town the next 2 weeks, this might be it. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, and we have Jordan online. He's gonna join us virtually to give some updates for the town of Ignacio. He is also a town trustee and recently on the Alliance board. Okay, we'll come back to him later. Yes, now we have Elizabeth Philbrick, Commissioner for La Plata County.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I like that. So I'm Elizabeth Philbrick. I'm one of your county commissioners. I would just do a quick little shout out first and foremost. It's already over, but the fair was a real success this year. For those of you who don't know, the 4-H in our region raises more money when their animals sell than any 4-H in all of Colorado by almost $200,000. So you still have the ability to do add-ons for our community animals, anything from $1 to $1,000 if you would like. So you can go ahead and go to the fairgrounds and still add on to your regional. A lot of these kids use these as economic development. There's a number of animal institutions in our region raising sheep, cows, variety of chickens, that kind of a thing, that are spurned out of our 4-H department. And oftentimes, not just learning how to raise the animal, but learning the economy of the animal raising is part of the 4-H curriculum. So please, thank you so much for everyone being part of that. Next up, the county is currently in process of negotiating the Durango Crossings URA. We're really excited about the prospect. The city has had several URA projects in the past. This, I believe, Tommy, is one of the largest that we have encountered. This has almost 20,000 square feet of commercial space and 187 residential units, with the intention of making the majority of those as attainable and affordable as possible. So we are working with a tax in lieu of finance agreement with the city in order to be able to make that happen for us. Conveniently, because we've learned about URAs, 2 years ago, the state of Colorado created an entirely new law that is a CRA, a county renewal authority. This has only been utilized in two counties across across Colorado, but we are actively looking into using this. At this point, you're going to get a wonderful presentation on the Airpark, and this is one of the potential tools that we can use in making the Airpark work. So if you have any interest in learning about a CRA, there's a lot of information online. It is a somewhat untested tool, but it is something that we are delving into deeply and our staff is very excited about. I want to double down on what Tommy was saying about the small business insights and policy recommendations, which the packet is outside. The county has also benefited greatly from the policy insights of that particular analysis, and we are delving deep into understanding the crossovers of how not only can the city of Durango benefit from those insights, but how can the county benefit from those insights. So if you need anything from me, my name is Elizabeth. I'm a real person. You can reach out at any time. And thank you very much for your time.
Some quick updates from the Plata Economic Development Alliance. Obviously we have our big summit coming up. That's the biggest thing that we are working on right now. So if you haven't had a chance to check out Kyla Scanlon's book, it is In This Economy, and it's a really, really great read. And the first 100 tickets all get a copy of the book, and she's going to be signing books at the summit in the afternoon. And so we will also have a few more copies for sale there, because Maria's bookshop is amazing and helping us out with that. So yes, we're getting ready for the summit. Here we go. We have Andy Arnold here today to talk about the Airpark Economic Feasibility Study. We are very excited about where it is headed. He has been able to capture data around kind of the economic snapshot of where we're at in La Plata County, what the need is, why this is such an important project. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to it, a big lift. So he's going to give some details to some of that data gathering and the initial kind of parts of this study. We will be publishing that here in the next few weeks. We're meeting with the city council, with tribal council, as well as county commissioners. We want all of our stakeholders to have a chance to have good buy-in before we publish this study. Because as you know, the Alliance does not like to create studies that sit on the shelf and collect dust. We want to go right into implementation phase on this, of course. So we'll get to hear from Andy here in a bit. The La Plata Opportunity Network is still our local job board that we continue to develop and grow. And then our Catalyst Fund, we had a couple of applications that are being considered by the Catalyst Fund Committee today. We have 2 more in the pipeline after that. So that's exciting to see the applications ramping up a bit. And for our Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund, we still have not had any applications for that. So if you know of an attainable housing project that needs like up to $500,000 at 1.75%, it's a nice add-on for the capital stack. So send them our way, please. The Project Run report has been released for Opportunity Now grant. So as you all know, we received $1.25 million over 3 years for us to create Project Run, which stands for Rural Upskill Network. That's become our workforce development arm in partnership with Fort Lewis College and a number of other community members. And so I have a couple highlights on the next slide I'll share with you, but did want to just reiterate those 10 internships. One of those internships that we were able to do this year, one of those just presented to our board, and it was on, she had had a 4-H internship, and she goes to American University. So it's really exciting to hear about her experience. It's really exciting for us to be able to help support that local talent pipeline with this internship program as well. We do have a healthcare convening today, so that's going to be a big continuing to get folks here regionally at Access. So we continue to perform on that contract and grant until the end of this year. And we have had a number of great metrics there. We've achieved our job placements, over 80 job placements, over 230 touch points with folks or something like that. Yeah. So it's been incredible work that Annie has led for our team, and we're so grateful to get to partner with Access on this to create more momentum around healthcare pathway. So just a couple of kind of have a little bit of a word salad going on up here, but these are some highlights from the Project Run report. I'm just so proud of the work that the Alliance and our partners were able to do together. Again, that 1.245 million broke down to about 400,000 being conveyed to FLC over the last 3 years. With the Access contract as well, we have conveyed over $500,000 to Fort Lewis College. So we've been really excited to help support their workforce development efforts and have a community partner in this workforce development. So that we have kind of all the rest of the breakdown of the myriad of ways that we were able to activate that money here in our community for workforce development, for building our talent pipeline. We had 234 total enrollments, and then we had 185 actually receive a certificate. So we had some great metrics from those last 3 years that we've demonstrated that this is a need for our community, that this is something that we want to continue going. And so we will be continuing the 2 leadership strategy, leadership people classes in 2027. Libby is working on a nonprofit leadership accelerator program, as well as we are reviewing finance and manufacturing and seeing how we can help support those areas as well. So more from Project Run to come. And then I think that just takes us to, back to the summit. Here we go again. So again, we are so excited about next month's summit. We are less than 30 days away. We have sold out of our summit sponsorships, but there are still tickets available. So we'd love to see you at this year's summit. Again, the theme is fueling our economy. You're going to hear from Chris Hansen today, who is also a speaker at next month's summit. We are really talking about leveraging public wealth for shared prosperity and how that operates. We have a lot of public wealth that we don't even consider to be our own shared public wealth, and this is going to be a space for us to explore it, as well as just understanding our economy more, having the state demographer come down here and provide some of those population forecasts so that you can better understand what the Plata County and the Southwest region is going to look like over the next 5 to 10 years as well. So we would love to have you at this year's summit powered by SEH, and do let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we're going to go right into our update from LPEA. Chris Hansen, the CEO, is here. Walk us through it.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, a very good morning, everyone. And I want to pick up on that phrase, shared public wealth. Raise your hand if you're a member of LPEA. It's gonna be most of the room, unless you have your own generator. I wish you good luck, if that's the case. That shared public wealth is such a great way to think about your co-op. We collectively own this system that is worth almost $500 million between La Plata and Archuleta counties. $500 million of investment over 89 years together. And that is delivering every day important things like the electricity for this projection to show my incredible slides and a picture of engineer. But in a more, I think, appropriate for this conversation this morning, it's that shared public wealth that we're leveraging every day for economic development, for jobs, for the next business that's going to open. And of course, if you're a business, you're trying really hard to control expenses, have as much flow down to the bottom of the sheet as possible. And we know at LPEA, as your co-op, the better we can do keeping your costs low means more dollars are flowing through the bottom, so you can hire the next person, so you can do the expansion, so you can add the new wing onto your business. We take that job very seriously and working to be stewards of that collective, almost $500 million investment in the co-op. So some highlights to share with you. This is a big year for your co-op. On April 1st, some really important things happened. And I hope it was totally unnoticed because your lights were still on and your bill was stable. That's what we want. Keep it as boring as possible. But wholesale power costs actually dropped 12%. And that's really great news because things like tariffs and inflation are challenging the other parts of our balance sheet. And so lower wholesale cost means less pressure on rates overall. Greenhouse gas emissions, we dropped 20% on that day compared to 2025, and we joined the regional market. So 3 really important things all happened on midnight at the end of March. And this is the new world in which we're operating to deliver on that shared investment. What does our power supply look like right now? Well, we've got a contract with a power trading firm called Mercuria. They do the balancing trades for us day in and day out in the market, make sure that we have got firm capacity, and that's about 55% of our total supply this year. We also have a contract with Tri-State where we buy from their system as well as a solar facility. Has anybody driven past the Dolores Canyon Solar Farm? It's near Cajon. About 110 megawatts, pretty large installation, producing a bunch of very low cost clean energy for us. Waste heat recovery from the harvest facility, rooftop solar. We have 26 megawatts of rooftop solar in Archuleta and Plata County. That's a lot. That's a lot, and it produces a piece of this pie. We also really leaning into the idea of more local investments, so a long-term contract with Viacita Hydro and community solar gardens like our Sunnyside facility south of town. So that's the snapshot today, and that's going to continue to evolve over time because of projects like this. And so you may be familiar, driving down 550, you can see the existing solar array. That's just shy of 2 megawatts, so medium size, I guess, as these things go. We're planning to add on about 3.3 megawatts of additional solar capacity to service all the members in our community. And in conjunction with that, adding a battery storage facility so that we can take that solar when it's abundant, 2-3 p.m. in the afternoon, and use it when we most need it, which is during peak hours. And peak hours are basically for us in the summer 6 to 10. That's when we need it the most. And so this battery facility, it's going to be 5 megawatts in size. It can soak up all of that solar during the day, shift it to the time when we need it most, and keep our rates affordable. Now, the good news is this is coming in at a really affordable price. We're going to be looking at under $50 a megawatt hour for all of the supply from this facility. So it's a great chance for us to reinvest and create more property tax, create construction jobs, create maintenance jobs, all locally instead of sending that money somewhere else. I mentioned the new power pool that we're part of. It's called SPP. There's a lot of TLAs in the power business. Southwest Power Pool. This is the purple. It was the existing footprint. The dark blue or indigo is the new footprint. We're connected now with all of our neighbors around most of Colorado. Excel has not joined yet. They are required by state law to do so by the end of the decade. And we'll see this power pool, I think, continue to grow in the West. It also means we now have a very strong interconnection with our friends in Farmington. And so in certain situations, we can share those resources. So a lot of advantages to being in the regional grid for the first time. A big topic of discussion, of course, are things like data centers. No current proposals in La Plata County. Our friends in Archuleta, I think, just established a moratorium, which I was joking with somebody yesterday. That's like saying no one in Archuleta gets to date Brad Pitt. It's probably not going to be data center. Probably not going to be data centers in Archuleta. But the amount of heat and light on this issue is intense. And so I want to let people know we've had calls. People have called us and said, can we come? So lots of inquiries, nothing active right now, but this gives you a sense of the grid, where these things are happening. Lots in Texas, lots in Arizona, and a ton of stuff happening just outside of Reno. But this is a national story, and we'll see what happens with any of those proposals as they come in. Wildfire risk sky high. I think folks realize that. We're working really hard on vegetation management, try to keep that risk as low as possible. Important part of the investments we're making for our members. This is part of what we're doing. We have now 25 weather stations that we're cobbling together all that data to monitor minute by minute the fire risk of the system and adjust our settings to keep that risk as low as possible. So some big investments we made this year, especially with the fire season that we're in the middle of. So vegetation management, fire settings on the system. We have drone inspection now to try to keep up with all of the monitoring. We've got partnerships with lots of public safety organizations and public safety power management, so that if we have to temporarily shut down a line to keep us safe, that's also now something we're prepared for, and making sure we can communicate that really clearly if we find ourselves in that situation. So this is an important aspect of our work to keep the community safe. I'm just going to end on this slide. This is another great picture of our crews out and about. If you see them on the side of the road, give them a shout. But this is really our vision statement for what we want to be for our members. We want to be member powered. Always, got to have a double entendre in every mission and vision statement. Future focused, and to be a national leader and really deliver for our membership and enable economic growth in every corner of our territory. So thanks so much for having me this morning, and I hope I have a chance to chat with you soon.
Okay, and next up we have Heather Otter, Executive Director of SCAPE, Southwest Colorado Accelerator Program from us. Say that fast. Yeah, got it.
I'm Heather Otter. I am the Executive Director of SCAPE Accelerator and also the SCAPE Investment Funds. And the last time I was here with you in December, I had high hopes for my team. As many of you know, that did not materialize in February, but it's a new season, and a new season marks new beginnings, and a lot has happened for the team. We have a new head coach, quarterback Josh and Haley became first-time parents. And the Bills have a new home. Their Highmark Stadium is complete and ready to welcome fans. Yes, my family is making the pilgrimage. We'll be there this fall to see a game. I don't know how we did it, but we have organized for 13 of us to go, which includes 2 sets of grandparents that are in their 80s and others. So talk to me after that. We'll see how it goes. So as I give you an update on where SCAPE's at, our progress, and where we're headed, let's start with a similarity of new home. SCAPE will be moving here into the Center for Innovation. We'll be in this front area at the end of the month. So we're really looking forward to being co-housed with other business support organizations. And so please look for us here. So I mentioned Accelerator and I mentioned investment funds. We specialize in working with early stage companies and early stage growth oriented companies. These are companies that I say simply they make money while they sleep. Typically they are looking to scale and provide their products, their services outside of our region, bring that money in internally. But that is where we specialize. And we do this by utilizing an expert network of mentors and advisors. And I do just want to say thank you. Several of you are in the room. I could not do it without my volunteers. And since I spoke with you last, I think we have had we're getting close to 300 hours of volunteer expert mentorship and advisors. And that includes everything from some of you that are business owners. That includes some of our SCAPE alumni companies that are now 3, 4, 5 years into running their business. And the new emerging founders, boy, do they love hearing from the alumni. They like that better than hearing from me because it's like these people have been around the block and can give really great advice. We also support these companies over multiple rounds in our funds. And that's really important because starting a company is hard. And when you are getting yourself ready to raise funds for the first time, your pre-seed round, a lot of work goes into that. And then what happens after you get the check? A lot of work goes into that. So that's where we specialize. We offer an annual fund to investors. So the other thing I'm really proud about is that we just opened in Q2 SCAPE Fund 10. So we've been doing this for a while. We're in our 10th fund. We have raised just under $400,000 in that fund. If you are interested in learning more about that, or if you've been investor curious, I'd be happy to talk with you and let you know how that works for being an angel investor. That network of our angel investors is about 60 core angel investors. 47 of those are repeat investors, meaning that they have invested in multiple funds over the years. We aim, our funds, annual funds aim to return 2.5% to 3%, but our average track record has been just around 5% over the life of those 9 funds. Again, we just opened our 10th, so we'll have statistics on that. All right, these are some of the portfolio companies that we've invested in. And we have a new portfolio company in the fund, the first company that was invested in out of SCAPE Fund 10, Dadati. And we've been working with them directly and intensely since last year. About the time I spoke with you, we engaged with them. And we engaged with them in working on the Advanced Industries Early Stage Grant. It's a Colorado OEDIT state grant, very competitive. SCAPE has a good track record of assisting emerging companies through that process. And I can't help it. The Bills have the Bills Mafia. Durango has Durango Mafia. The Durango Mafia is the group of people that are here that have been wild advocates for making sure the money from the Advanced Industries Grant gets down to Southwest Colorado. They have spent their time serving on those review committees. They spend their time here talking with our emerging companies that are applying. And so they have been coined the Durango Mafia, and we are sure happy to have them on board. All right, the summit. Sarah mentioned the summit. SCAPE will be holding a panel, and we are going to be talking about it's rooted in resilience. So we'll be talking a lot about how angel investment and angel funds in an area that looks like ours, what part does that play in the local and regional economy and beyond? Why is it so important that we continue to have rural investors and make sure that we are helping these companies start and continue in our communities? And so we'll have Ted Compton is going to be our moderator, and I have Ashley from Startup Colorado that will be talking about RAIN. You'll hear about RAIN, which is the Rural Angel Investor Network. And then Nick in the corner, who is a founder of his own companies in clean tech and does a lot of work with our local emerging founders. And then Tom from Fort Lewis, which is Center for AI. And then one of our new founders that we're working with, Ray. And we're going to be talking not only about leveraging assets, how do we work together to make sure that this investment and working with rural companies, emerging founders is important, but in that, what is the role of AI? And a lot of people are curious about that. What happens when all of a sudden now you are looking at managing a team that has agents and humans? What does that mean? The way that we are looking at companies now for investment is shifting. Now with the AI native platforms that a lot of emerging companies are using. And so that'll be a really interesting conversation. If you haven't registered for the summit, please do and come see us for that panel. If you need my contact information, it's here. I'll also have some cards with me. But thanks for your time today. And if you are interested in talking more, learning more about SCAPE, I'd be happy to connect.
But we're really excited to have Andy speak to the highlights of what we've been working on with the Animas Airpark Economic Feasibility. He's been doing everything from meeting with the landowners, business owners, surveying them. We've had lots of meetings with the county, city, fire department. Thank you for being here today, Randy, as well as we've been talking this up quite a bit. So he's got a lot of great information. The report right now is at 210 pages. So we're trying to coalesce that to a one-pager. But we're trying to take out the guessing work of how this will be implemented later. So without any further ado, I want Andy to have the floor to be able to talk about his processes and why we're so lucky to have him in our community to provide this quality level of work of economic feasibilities. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Andy Arnold. I am the founder and principal of Pioneer Development Company. We are going to talk about some of the high levels of this Animas Airpark proposed strategic plan. This is a feasibility study. I'm sure many people in this room know how many years we've studied this area, tried to figure out how we can bring infrastructure to this area, tried to figure out how we can activate this area. Unfortunately, we are not really going to talk too much about this area though, for these next 8 minutes. We want to talk about some of the high-level findings that came from this report, because what I think is very important for everybody in this room to know, for our community across the Plata County to know, is that we're at an inflection point with our economy. And I think we need to make a concerted effort, especially in investing in a specific type of built environment space, like industrial and business park space, to change the trajectory of our economy. And I'll get into that in just a second. So, shameless plug. Just want to let you know who we are. So I started this company with my wife 4 years ago. Pioneer Development Company is really about pioneering development, trying to make development happen in places where it's difficult. Since 2022, we now work with about 30 municipalities and counties throughout the state of Colorado. We also work with the EPA nationally on brownfield redevelopment. And since that time, we've helped structure incentive agreements that have exceeded $600 million, really to fund public infrastructure. So trying to take that experience and bring it to this study, what we found is that we looked at a 533-acre area. That includes the airpark, that includes, south of the airpark, Stone Age, and it includes all of the, I would say, light industrially zoned spaces along Post Road. Through this study, we found some really interesting findings in regards to our economics as a county, in regards to our market for light industrial and business park space. And I just want to walk you through that right now because, like I said earlier, we are at an inflection point, but I do think that Plata County has a history of making this space available. And we also have really good peer community case study examples of where if you invest in the space, you're going to see a really big return in your economy. So first, and I know Roger is not here, but I have to give him a shout out because a couple weeks ago, he put an article out in the Herald about how we haven't grown for a decade. I was happy he wrote that article because as I was going through this study, I was like, this can't be right. And so it was nice to have some confirmation from a person that used to work at the Fed. But in any case, what this graph shows is our output, our real GDP, which is inflation adjusted, going back from 2001. The Bureau of Economic Analysis, which is a federal program, tracks this data going all the way back until 2001. You can't go back beyond that. And what we see is that around 2005, we peaked at about $3.55 billion of economic output. So that's everything we create within our local Plata County economy. We've never exceeded that peak. Now, for those of you that were here, I've only been here since 2017, but there was a lot of oil and gas boom going on at that time. And so, of course, there's going to be some cycles with that, whether we have the Great Recession in 2008 and COVID through 2019. But what is really interesting is that from 2013 to now, we have not grown as a county economy. And so that's arresting when you think about that. And so you might say, well, maybe that's just a West Slope phenomenon. Maybe these rural counties throughout Colorado just haven't grown since, the recession. But that's not true. If we look at the average indexed to 2013, Colorado as a state grew by about 50% over the last 10 years, economic output. If we look at one of our peer communities, which is Montrose County, which is 20% less population and less wealthy than Plata County, they grew by a third, and we're at zero. So again, why is that? One thing that we did look at is, well, even though maybe on the whole, the county's economy hasn't grown, where are we growing? And this is where the story gets a bit distressing, because what you see here is something called location quotients. That's a fancy word for just a concentration of an industry. And it's compared to the national average. Anything on this side of the y-axis is an export industry. We have more of it than the average community in America. Anything on this side is an import industry, meaning that we have less of that concentration than another community throughout the average community throughout America. And what you see here on the y-axis is the average weekly wage for that industry. And this dotted line is our county's average weekly wage. And so what we're seeing, because of the size of these circles, this is the percentage of our county's workforce that works within those industries. These are super sectors. So what you see here is that our export-focused industries, natural resources and mining, extraction industries, construction, which is a great industry, but it's a derivative industry. If we're not building, construction isn't growing, right? And then also leisure and hospitality. And what this tells you, this is at about $650 a week. And so when we think about affordability, if we are concentrated here and this is where we're growing, increasingly our economy is becoming more unaffordable for workers. So the question is, how do we grow these on this side of the chart? Well, I would argue that growing them is going to require a concerted effort. And so we're at a fork in the road, this inflection. If we do nothing, we're going to become more tourism industry dependent, and I have nothing against the tourism economy. It's a large part of why we want to live here. It's the businesses or restaurants or service sector, fantastic. If that's the only part of our economy growing, we're going to have a lot of problems. We're going to go the way of, say, San Miguel County. If we rely again on extraction industries, again, wonderful industries, very volatile. And so if we have a tourism economy that could be volatile, bad snowpack, wildfire, if we have an extraction industry that global economics, you know what's going on with that, that's volatile, our economy is not sustainable. Whereas if we make a concerted effort, and I label this public-private partnerships, if we work together from a regulatory standpoint, private sector standpoint, thinking about how we can fund critical infrastructure to grow and fund the built environment, make a concerted change, I think we'll get more goods producing industry jobs, higher wages, and that'll also create a more sustainable economy. We'll be more resilient for the future. I also think that is how we get to greater affordability. Because let's face it, we can't subsidize every single house in the Plata County. We have to create an economy where people who live, who work here can actually live. So that brings us to this term. You're talking about high-level economics, but really what I focus on as a real estate economist is the built environment. Because it's nice to say, hey, we're going to diversify our economy. That means that you have to have space for those businesses to operate within. And if you don't have that space, it's going to be a problem. What you see here is a comparison between La Plata County, Montrose County, and Delta County. And right here, if we just look at industrial space, classified as light industrial space, heavy industrial space, we haven't had a construction start in Plata County after 2018. Now, this data is not perfect. There might be some small shops or small sheds that are, owner occupied that could fall through the cracks. But the same thing is true of Montrose and Delta data. And what we've seen in Montrose in particular is that they've built a lot of this space. And you saw that growth chart with Montrose County in terms of their GDP. Currently, Montrose County has about 500 more manufacturing jobs than we do. And a big part of that is because they've invested in a business park. And I'll get into that in one second. We've done this before. So I don't want to paint just a bleak picture. Like, this is going back using the assessor's data. From 1970s to 2010, we were averaging between 25,000 and 50,000 square feet of new light industrial business park space, office space a year. And that was in Bodo and the Durango Tech Center. But since 2010, we've only built about 4,000 square feet of space within those business parks. What does that mean? They're at capacity. We all know that even some of this light industrial space is transitioning to retail space, housing, and that's okay. That's what happens. But where's our next business park? Where's our next light industrial spot? If this is at capacity and we're not building anything, I think we need to think about it as a tool. And so those parks, 2,400 jobs, that is a big boost to our economy. When we don't have these parks, we don't have these businesses, we don't have all these jobs generating that economic output. When we looked at the market, it confirmed these suspicions. Our industrial vacancy right now for La Plata County is below 0.5%. That's not healthy. A healthy real estate market in that space is about 5 to 7% vacancy. What this means at 0.5% is that we have so little space that the second something comes online, it's taken. And also, a lot of this space is functionally obsolete. Office vacancy is not much better, 2% vacancy throughout the county. We have 0 square feet for either industry asset class under construction. Like I said, 7 years since the last industrial construction start, we are supply starved. So when you look at these demand analysis and they say, oh, well, La Plata County hasn't actually generated a lot of light industrial or office space, there's probably not a demand for it. I would argue the opposite. We don't have any data that points to what our true demand is. We're so supply constrained that I think that we can absorb this very quickly. I mentioned Montrose County. I want to highlight why they were able to generate all of that light industrial space not too long. This is a project called Colorado Outdoors. It started in about 2018. This was a concerted effort by the city of Montrose County, where they took 165 acres. They are planning out 670,000 square feet of light industrial and business park space. Able Reels, Ross Reels located their headquarters here. There's a lot of flex space that's already been leased up in the initial phases. And this required a public-private partnership, tax increment financing, opportunity zone financing, new market tax credits, and also capital investment from the city and the county. It's going to require that to get to this point, at least for us. So we have two pillars of strategy that really came out of this report that I want to share with you all. And I think it's a good strategy where if we can work together as a county, both from a regulatory standpoint, private business standpoint, I think we're going to be able to create the space that we need here in the county. First is predictable and tight, that de-risk development. I know we've talked about this forever, and I'm not trying to beat up on the county or the city because it's hard. Regulation's hard. You got to do it the right way, and it does slow down development sometimes. But there are ways that we could do this in which we could create uses permitted by right, create Euclidean zoning in the county, which we don't have right now. So that means that if you build something here and it's this specific use, you're allowed to build it. You don't have to wait a year, spend a lot of pre-development costs, go to a public hearing and watch the pitchforks come out and watch your project go up in flames. You can't tell I was a planner and did entitlement for a while. So administrative site plan review, that's also, instead of going to a public hearing, why not have the administration just, stamp, this meets our code. You don't have to have a public hearing. This is, again, saves cost, de-risk development. Finally, it's one thing to have zoning and administrative review. On the other side of that coin, we have to have predictable design standards. And design standards that match the uses that we want. So when we're talking about business parks and light industrial, having an urban road probably doesn't make sense. Sidewalks, curb and gutter, trees, bike lanes, those are all wonderful. But if we have a distribution hub, why is it there? It's a very big cost. It might hold up development. The other side of this coin, and you hear me talk a lot about infrastructure because it's infrastructure that usually kills the development deal. If I'm trying to build something, if I'm building a light industrial space and I need to bring out sewer and water and create a road network, the capital intensive costs of that, it's just not going to pencil. And so how do we bring the infrastructure out to these areas to manifest this built environment space? The first, this is what I would call a public financing capital stack. The foundation of it is tax increment financing. This is, I work with a lot of communities throughout Colorado. TIF is used in almost every major development deal up and down the front range. Now, I'm not saying that then we should import ideas from Denver, so to speak, but from a financing side, it makes a lot of sense. Special districts, metropolitan districts, general improvement districts, GID, gives us an ability to bond for that infrastructure. So we could creatively and strategically use those in certain areas. Being proactive on our CIPs. So the county and the city, you have a capital improvement program. There might be an area where there's a sewer line or a water line or a road. We've funded that proactively. It's going to manifest the development we want to see, those economic benefits. And then finally, I put these at the end because usually we start with going after it. We start with going after state incentives. It's always the last money. We got to solve this locally, and if there's still a gap, let's go after a grant. Let's close the gap with that. And I mentioned state incentives, especially from the business park or industrial standpoint. There are incentives such as Rural Jumpstart that can do an 8-year abatement on things like personal property. If I'm an advanced manufacturer, my equipment in that building is going to be worth more than the building itself. And if I don't have to pay taxes on it for 8 years, that changes the game. And that might be a way for us to attract businesses and help businesses here grow. Finally, and this is to really give credit to you all and Sarah and the Alliance, is that especially when it comes to the Animas Airpark and the Postal Study, or anywhere that we're trying to do these business parks and create this light industrial space, we need a local champion. It is one thing for a report to say, hey, this is how we think it can go. But you know the development process. It's iterative. It's hard. It's going to take a lot of work to try to push it forward. And when we talk about public financing incentives and works, we're going to need an entity like the Alliance, in my opinion, that can keep pushing that forward, not just to make sure that the regulatory changes can happen, not just so that we can create the incentives to happen, but we also need to be actively trying to attract the entrepreneurs, the businesses, both locally, regionally, nationally, that are going to fill this space. Because even if we succeed, we build this business park and it's all there, someone needs to operate, someone needs to fill in that space. So it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm confident Plata County's done it before. I think our peer communities are showing you can do it now. And I think that, we can set the tone for the next 10 years. So thank you for your time.
Just to provide a little bit of light about that study, those stakeholders who help support the financing of this study to be commissioned included the Plata County, the city of Durango, the Growth Fund, Tribe, CHAFA, that's the Colorado Health and Finance Authority, as well as the Airpark itself. So it is taking the whole community to really come together around this project to understand it, and it will take the whole community to be able to move this forward in development. So with that, we'll move into community announcements. Did you? Is there anything else? Does anybody have any community announcements?
Yeah, I will.
Right.
Hi everyone, Kate Swazo. I'm from Maria's Literary Foundation. Super excited to be here with you all. Our Bookmobile, which is a traveling book dispersal program, is up and running. We're super excited. Our goal is to bring books to book deserts in our community, so communities without libraries or bookstores. We give brand new books out completely for free based on the community, their identity, and what they're interested in. So please reach out to us if you have an event, an organization you're working with, or are working with the community who you think could utilize our services. Please don't hesitate to reach out. It's a beautiful airstream that was designed by a local artist. So we're really excited to get it on the road. So please reach out to us and let us know.
Hey, my name is Chandra Stubbs. I'm with the Powerhouse. I'm their new director of advancement. I just want to let you all know we have a free train day this Saturday. We're partnering with the Durango and Silverton Gauge Railroad, narrow gauge railroad. And we're going to have between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Saturday. Their museum's free, our museum's free. There's going to be an actual train going between the two museums all day long, every half an hour between 10 and 3. So please come out and support that initiative. We're really excited. We're really happy the train collaborated on this cool event. One other thing, we have a ribbon cutting. Our child care center opens at the end of August. And so that is Senator Hickenlooper will be there to give some comments as well. So we're really excited about that. Thanks.
Thank you.
I wanted to wrap things up. Thank you to our presenters who were unbelievably inspiring and really on time. Thank you to Chris and to Heather and to Andy. I sat kind of in the side today. Normally I'm kind of up front, and the lean in and the nodding is, you can see it, you can feel it in this room. It's such an inspiring meeting. It's such an amazing community. So we are not having a meeting next month here. You're going to be at the summit. Who's going to the summit? Everybody in the room, right? Alex is now going to the summit. Please come to the summit. It will be the most inspiring thing you attend this year in the region. I can guarantee it. And then I also want to push for, or just mention, at our last board meeting, we approved our Q2 financials and started thinking about our 2027 budget. The Economic Development Alliance is funded in a number of different ways through our public partners, through our private investor members, which is hopefully everybody in this room. I know it's not everybody in this room, but if you are wondering, is this the right place for me to invest some of my business dollars? I would say yes. Even if you're a sole proprietor, there's a level for you. And then you can come and just be part of this amazing group as an investor member. We'd love it if you're not. You come anyway, but just think about that for 2027 as you're thinking about your budgeting. And that's really all I had to say. I look forward to seeing you all at the summit in September and then back here in October. And thank you for being here. If you do have any questions about becoming a member, we've got our great staff up here. We also have Sam as a board member up here in the front. We've got Mark as a board member. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Also, Jordan from Bayfield is available. Let's get talking here from Jordan while we have time.
Yes, I'm happy to jump on
One
and
second, sorry.
You gotta fix this out.
y'all there. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you.
Alrighty. All right, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Jordan Bolwin, and I serve as a trustee for the town of Ignacio. There are two things I'd particularly like to highlight about what's happening in Ignacio. First is housing. We're nearing completion of the second phase of our Rock Creek housing development, with the third and final phase still to come. Rock Creek provides attainable homeownership and opportunities for working families. And we currently have 6 units remaining from approximately 20 built. So it's been a great project. It's been a tremendous example of regional collaboration. The town housing authority worked with the county, with DOLA, the Homes Fund, Fading West, and a couple of others to make it happen. And that collaboration was recently recognized with the Eagle Award, which we are very proud of. Looking forward, though, I think one of our biggest opportunities is the redevelopment of downtown Ignacio. I hope everyone's paying close attention. The town now owns close to 10 acres of riverfront property that's centered around the old elementary school, which we call the El building, and several other aging structures. And over the coming decade, we want to transform that area into a public and community asset and use it as a catalyst for broader downtown revitalization. So we're looking for both public and private partners to help us determine how that can be done. El is only part of the opportunity. The town owns also a significant amount of property throughout Ignacio. So we've been land banking for a long time. And over the coming years, we expect to make various properties available for private development. So that's going to include housing and commercial space. So I think Ignacio has a pretty compelling story to tell potential developers and investors. We're only about 30 minutes away from Durango. We're 15 minutes from the airport. We're connected by a highway with little traffic. So our real estate remains considerably more affordable than Durango. And importantly, our town government is motivated to see responsible development happen. So we want more housing, we want more businesses, we want investment in our community, and we want to work with private partners who share an interest in doing that responsibly. So my message to this group is simple. If you or someone you work with is looking for opportunities in Southwest Colorado, come and talk to us. Ignacio is open to ideas, open to investment. We are open for business. Thank you.
Thank you. He also failed to mention that the demolition derby is this Saturday in Ignacio. So I'll see you out there for that. But yep, we'll see you in September at the summit. Don't forget, no meeting next month. So thank you again.